In a shocking move that stunned global markets today, President Trump announced a sweeping plan to impose harsh new tariffs on Canadian automobile exports to the United States. The announcement has sent shockwaves through the corridors of power in Ottawa, with Canada now preparing to hit back hard at Trump's tariff threat. The warning is clear. If Trump goes through with these devastating tariffs, Canada is ready to unleash retaliatory measures that could cripple the U.S. auto industry, an industry already facing massive pressure from rising production costs and global competition. Experts warn that these tariffs could cause an estimated $5 to $7 billion loss in automotive trade alone within the first year, shaking the foundations of an industry that employs millions on both sides of the border. As tensions between Washington and Ottawa escalate to levels not seen in decades, the future of North America's deeply intertwined economies now hangs in the balance. Will Trump's aggressive gamble deliver the results he promises, or will it backfire and set off a trade war that drags down the entire region? Before diving into this unfolding economic clash, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the African Web, your trusted channel for breaking global developments and their impact on Africa and beyond. Now let's unpack the full story. At the heart of this brewing conflict is a renewed threat, a punishing 25% tariff on Canadian-made vehicles headed for US markets. President Trump's hardline stance is set to ignite a chain reaction across the entire automotive sector. Canada is not taking this threat lightly. Officials in Ottawa are already drafting plans for powerful retaliatory tariffs that could hit back with precision, targeting key American exports. The consequences could be catastrophic. American auto giants like General Motors, Ford, and Tesla stand to lose billions. In fact, early estimates suggest that Ford alone could see a loss of over $700 million in Canadian sales if tariffs are imposed. Plants dependent on Canadian parts and assembly lines could grind to a halt, disrupting over $60 billion worth of annual automotive trade between the two countries. The intricate web of supply chains linking Detroit to Ontario would face a severe destruction, leading to soaring production costs and layoffs. What will happen when American consumers find themselves paying dramatically higher prices for their vehicles? Some estimates suggesting $5,000 to $7,000 increases for mid-sized SUVs and trucks. Could this even trigger a consumer backlash against homegrown brands? The auto industry, which has spent decades building seamless integration across borders, now teeters on the edge of disarray, all because of a tariff war that threatens to dismantle years of economic cooperation. Beyond the auto industry, a deeper crisis looms in the energy sector. Canada remains the single largest foreign supplier of electricity, oil, and liquefied natural gas to the United States. In 2024 alone, Canada exported over $100 billion worth of energy products to the US, an amount critical to American households and industries. With retaliatory measures on the table, Canadian policymakers are signaling that energy exports could soon be weaponized in this escalating dispute. If Canada imposes tariff hikes on energy shipments, or worse, disrupts the flow of critical supplies, it could send shockwaves through American energy markets. Imagine the ripple effects: higher electricity bills for households, supply shortages in key industrial zones, and a sudden spike in oil and gas prices, with some analysts predicting energy costs in northern US states could surge by 15% to 20% within just a few months. Would the US energy grid, heavily reliant on Canadian resources, be able to withstand such a jolt? Could Trump's gamble on tariffs backfire by triggering an energy crisis at home just months before a crucial election cycle? The answers remain dangerously unclear. The financial markets are already bracing for impact. Analysts are warning that the share prices of major American automakers could take a severe hit if Trump's tariffs are enacted. Initial forecasts suggest that companies like General Motors, Ford, and Tesla could see their stock prices plunge by 8% to 12% almost immediately, wiping out billions of dollars in market value overnight. Investors who once bet on stable North American supply chains are now scrambling to adjust their portfolios amidst rising uncertainty. But the pain would not stop at Wall Street. A prolonged tariff war could unravel decades of carefully built market integration between Canada and the United States. Production delays, surging material costs, and shrinking consumer demand could set off a downward spiral, slowing economic growth across both countries. Some economic models warn that a full-blown trade war could shave up to 0.5% off US GDP and over $20 billion off bilateral trade annually. How will North American competitiveness survive if internal battles destroy the very supply networks that have kept industries strong against global competitors like China and Germany? This financial turbulence could linger for years, reshaping trade patterns long after today's headlines have faded. As the economic fallout looms, the political tensions are rising just as fast. Trump's protectionist doctrine is clashing head-on with Canada's determination to defend its industries. Canadian leaders are standing firm, signaling that they will not be bullied into submission, even if it means enduring short-term pain for long-term sovereignty. The lack of immediate diplomatic solutions only adds fuel to the fire. Historical precedents show that trade wars are easy to start but incredibly difficult to end. Could this be a repeat of past economic standoffs that dragged on for years, harming millions in the process? Or has the political landscape shifted so much in 2025 that traditional diplomacy no longer holds the power to avert disaster? With both nations digging in their heels and Ottawa reportedly preparing a $10 billion counter-tariff package, the possibility of a quick resolution seems increasingly remote. Looking ahead, the possibilities grow even more concerning. If neither side blinks, deeper economic losses are almost guaranteed. Industries beyond autos and energy, such as agriculture, technology, and consumer goods, could soon feel the ripple effects. North America's once booming cross-border trade could grind down to a fraction of its former vitality, replaced by nationalism and economic fragmentation. Already, early forecasts suggest that cross-border trade could shrink by as much as 35% if the standoff drags on. Some experts warn that nearly 600,000 jobs could vanish across North America, hitting manufacturing hubs the hardest. Worse still, household incomes could dip by an average of $2,500 per year if tariffs spiral further out of control. Will negotiations eventually cool the rising tensions? Or are we standing at the threshold of a full-blown economic war between two of the world's closest allies? And if the worst happens, how will the rest of the global economy, including emerging African markets, adjust to the shockwaves from a US-Canada meltdown? Experts fear that a prolonged dispute could trigger a domino effect, leading to over $50 billion in economic losses globally over the next 2 years. What do you think? Is this a necessary stand against unfair trade practices or a reckless move that could boomerang back with devastating consequences? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget, for more in-depth coverage of global developments and their impact on Africa and the world, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell right here on the African Web.